My dad's first question was, "What's the internet?" So they were not, betting on the concept or the idea. They were betting on their son. I told him I thought there was a 70% chance they would lose their entire investment. That was an important disclosure because I wanted to be able to go home for Thanksgiving dinner no matter what happened. I'm very happy that that investment has worked out very well for them. But it was I was giving myself triple the normal odds. Startup companies are very tricky things, and fewer than 10% of them actually go on to make any return on an investment at all. And so I was giving myself a 30% chance, and just wildly overconfident. But things actually worked out. The planets aligned in those early days, and startup companies need early planetary alignment because there are so many things that can go wrong. And when we launched that store in July of 1995, we were shocked at the customer response. Literally in the first 30 days, we had orders from all 50 states and 45 different countries. And we were woefully unprepared from an operational point of view to handle that kind of volume. And in fact, we quickly expanded. We talked to our landlord, and we expanded into a 2,000 square foot basement warehouse space. It had 6-foot ceilings. One of our 10 employees was 6'2". He went around like this the whole time, and we were doing our day jobs, which might have been computer programming and all the different things that 10 people will do in a little tiny startup company, and then we would spend all afternoon and into the wee hours of the morning packing up the orders and shipping them out. I would drive these things to UPS, and so we get the last one, and we wait to the last second. I'd get to UPS, and I'd sort of bang on the glass door that was closed, and they always would take pity on me and sort of open up and let us ship things late. We had so many orders that we weren't ready for that we had no real organization in our distribution centers at all. In fact, we were packing on our hands and knees on a hard concrete floor, and I remember, just to show you how stupid I can be, my only defense is that it was late, but we were packing these things, everybody in the company. And I had this brainstorm, and as I said to the person next to me, this packing is killing me. My back hurts. This is killing my knees on this hard cement floor. And the person said, "Yeah, I know what you mean." And I said, "You know what we need? This is my brilliant insight. We need knee pads." I was very serious. And this person looked at me like I was the stupidest person they'd ever seen. They're like, "I'm working for this person. This is great." And said, "What we need is packing tables." And I looked at this. I looked at this person, and I thought that was the smartest idea I'd ever heard. The next day we got packing tables, and I think we doubled our productivity. That early stage, by the way, of Amazon.com, where we were so unprepared, is probably one of the luckiest things that ever happened to us, because it formed a culture of customer service in every department in the company, every single person in the company, because we had to work with our hands so close to the customers, making sure those orders went out. Really set up a culture that served us well. And that is our goal, to be Earth's most customer-centric company. And my advice would be the same for any kind of entrepreneur. And that is, make sure that you are focused on something you're passionate about. So if you look at the early internet companies, they were started and focused on doing something that they thought was very interesting long before the internet was fashionable in any way. We are currently an underdog once again. We've been in business for 6 years, and there was exactly 1 year where we were not the underdog, and that was 1999. I like the underdog years because it makes, I liked it when all the people we hired, their parents told them they were crazy. Like that was the that was kind of the good era. Fortunately, it's back. In 1999, all the parents were like, giving their brothers and sisters high fives. My son is working at Amazon.com. So that's a very, you can't follow the fashion when you're trying to do a startup company, or I think really anything in life. But you have to, as an entrepreneur, if you're gonna build a company, pick something you think is interesting that has the intersection of genuinely creating real customer value, and then just stay right there and let the wave catch you. It's hard to do anything, I think, whatever it is that you want to do, there's going to be risk in your life, and risk is a necessary component of progress. So, there are different kinds of people that want to do different kinds of things in their life. I like exploration, and in fact, I think that I'm a little stymied because I'd really like to be a physical explorer. I would have loved to have been, Sir Richard Francis Burton or something like that. How much fun would that be to go, search for the source of the Nile and have people throw spears at you and stuff. I mean, that just sounds great. Obviously involves a lot of risk. You find most geographical exploration, not all to be sure, but most geographical exploration on Earth today is somewhat contrived. It might be something like circling the Earth in a balloon or something like that. Now, there are some very deep spots where you can still do that, and then of course there's space. I'm personally very interested in space and have been all my life, and would love someday to do that. All of these things involve risk. I don't know how you can make any pioneering movements in the world of any kind, whether they be the geographical, physical exploration that I've just been talking about, or whether it be, a more cerebral exploration of a scientific field. Or I bet you could ask that question of every speaker here, and I bet that every speaker here has taken substantial risks, whether it be intellectual or otherwise, to achieve what they've done. And at Amazon.com, as a company, that what you do, in fact, the early stages of the company are all about eliminating risk. You take those precious early startup dollars. In my case, those $300,000 from my parents, and then we raised $1 million from 20 angel investors. You take those precious early dollars and you use them to systematically eliminate risks one after the other. And what you hope is that you get to a company of a scale where the company doesn't need that kind of planetary alignment that it needs in the early days, but that instead the company has more control over its own destiny. And then that actually, by the way, creates more pressure for that team of people who represent that company. That, in our case, the 7,000 folks at Amazon.com, that we have more pressure today than we did 6 years ago, because now our destiny is in our own hands. We've systematically eliminated those risks to where we have the assets we need to build an important and lasting company. So now if we don't do it, shame on us.